Well, howdy folks, and welcome to League Unlock. My name is Eric. LCK Week 3 action getting underway because it's Wednesday. You've only got 2 days off from LCK action for the entire regular season. Monday and Tuesday is your weekend if you're covering or paying attention to Korean League of Legends. And Week 3, pretty much every week, because there's so many intriguing matchups, have some fantastic games and series to get through. And Wednesday started off with a couple of, well, not a couple of terrific ones, at least one terrific one in Damwon taking on Sandbox Gaming, who are looking to go to that perfect 5-0. And obviously these two teams have a lot of history behind them. They went head-to-head a lot in the Challenger Series, pretty much the entirety of 2018 when Griffin was not beating up on everyone. These two were kind of the top teams, with Damwon almost always getting the better of Sandbox. But it's the boys formerly of Battle Comics that have the better start in the LCK so far at 4-0. Damwon coming in 2-2, but they have that faith that they used to dominate these guys in Challengers. But the LCK is a totally different beast, and we jump in to game one because both these guys have been surprises, and they are the future of the LCK. Ghost is grabbing the victor in this matchup, and you saw on fleek on the Lee Sin, who was on point early on to nab a kill. That's going to be first blood for Sandbox, who have had some really fantastic moments and some highly questionable ones. Just about as questionable as that TP by Nuclear. You can't cancel it anymore. Everyone on Sandbox just waits for him to come in, gets completely blown up. That's a kill in favor of them. Early game looking good. It's all Ocean Drakes early on, 2 for Sandbox and 1 for Damwon. And then we've got a fight around the Dragon Pit, but there's no dragon to battle over, and that is a kill over to the Urgot. The Ezreal ulti comes in, but that's not going to be enough. Then you got Joker on the support Galio, by the way. We can see you can play him anywhere. They're playing this patch on 9.2. They're on 9.2 now, heading in to Week 3. All the other regions should catch up. That's a Baron for Sandbox, but Damwon wants some more fights. They want to keep going. They want to at least get something out of it, and they get a lot of something. Everybody dies except for the Urgot. Only one Baron buff, but we go right back to Baron because that's where all the action was in Game 1. I mean, past 20 minutes, every fight was focused around this Baron Pit. It's again going the way of Sandbox, but they couldn't really bust the base open of Damwon. They were doing a good job fighting back. That's a kill for Dove on the LeBlanc. And On Fleek says, yes, I'm going in with that Q. Nuclear and Showmaker just waiting over the edge. It took a long time, 3 Barons it took Sandbox to close out this first game, but they eventually do it with those 4 dragons. It was very back and forth, but Sandbox get first blood in the series to go up 1-0. Game 2, Damwon busts out the Kennen to go against a blind pick Renekton, and early on Damwon is diving that bottom lane. Joker is just trying to clear the minion waves on that Galio. He almost survives, but he will go down there. Damwon a solid early start, and then it's up top where the Kennen is going to be a little bit caught out. He gets excited, but look at the turret damage early on. It cannot save you. Nuguri gets the trade kill on that Akali because turrets early do a lot of damage, and then they're trying to catch out Nuclear, and that gets turned around very quickly. The Braum ulti doesn't land. 2 kills in the favor of the Lucian. He's getting nice and fed, and then where else but around that Baron. Damwon, by the way, 3 dragons at this point, and Nuclear is just free hitting. He's gonna flash over to clean up the kill on Fleek, who's playing the Lee Sin yet again, and the chase would continue. Dove tries to put on a little bit of a show, but not going to happen. Nuclear gets the kill there, and then it's a Baron. They're going to get turrets as well. That's a big snowball, and a much cleaner way. Then it's Nuguri on the Kennen. That was a 5-man ulti in Sandbox's base. They close it out much quicker than Sandbox did in Game 1, and this one is going the distance to that third and decisive game. These two teams, oh so familiar with one another, and in that third match, we've got Jace for Sandbox. You've got the Callista, Zoe, and On Fleek, third straight game of Lee Sin. Ghost on this Kalista. Ghost, by the way, has been so much better than anything we saw out of him on BBQ. Wasn't entirely sure if he'd be the main starter here in the LCK for Sandbox, but he has definitely earned that spot now as he turns around a 1v2 with a TP, and then it's a big party in the bottom lane. They would grab 2 kills, and again, it's Ghost getting caught out. Looks like he's going to die, but the redemption and shield from the Lee Sin, plus his own heal, keeps him alive to turn that around. He does fall eventually to Nuguri on his patented Vladimir top pick, and he was absolutely a man on a mission on this game for Damwon. But game 3 was a sloppy. Look at people just getting caught out and disrespecting, just walking into the opposing team. First, Sandbox gets caught, and then Nuguri just walks in. Even with the Vladimir pool, it's not enough to save him. Then we're fighting around the Baron buff with a Kalista and the Smite for Sandbox. They're able to secure it. Damwon wants some fighting. All they do is lose Dove for it, and that is definitely going to be called worth. And then around the inner turret, we've got... These team fights were absolutely insane in game 3. Pretty much this whole series, there are just deaths left, right, and center. Nuguri's clearing up kills. 2 guys look like they're going to survive. The Vladimir gets them, and then watch the Jace Shock Blast. That's a 4 for 4. Only the top laners remaining. It would be an extra turret in the way of Damwon. And then we have the fight around Baron where, yes, again, Sandbox grabbed their Baron, and then much like game 1, I said it was actually 3 Barons they got. They only got 2 Barons in game 1. And it took them that long to close out. The second Baron here in game 3 wasn't enough to close out, and you have another explosive team fight here. And again, it's gonna keep your eye on Ghost on his Kalista. He's gonna eventually get his GA popped here, but he comes right back out and is ready to fight. He flashes out Nuclear, tries his damnedest to clean this one up. 1v3, everyone is low health, but he just can't do it. That is an ace for Sandbox. Game 3 is when it takes them 3 Barons to finally close it out. They get a little bit of revenge from their Challenger Series run. They take down Damwon. You see how fired up the coaching staff is, and they should be fired up because Sandbox have the best record in the LCK now at 5-0. Don't think anyone would have predicted that they would do that, especially now with wins against SKT and against Damwon, who was a relatively hyped squad, as well as all the other old LCK teams that they've taken down. Next stop, Griffin for Sandbox. Because they have that extra game in hand, they do have the better record, but that was by no means a perfectly played series, but man, was it exciting. Those team fights were incredibly explosive with multiple bodies dropping almost every single time. You'd like to see them close games out a little bit quicker if you're talking about Sandbox, but you can't complain too much when a team starts their spring split 5-0, just completely destroying everyone's expectations. Coming up after the break, we had another game from the LCK, and if you love support Jarvan, make sure you try it AP, because that's exactly what we saw. Welcome back to our cozy digs here at League Unlocked. My name's Eric. Thank you for spending your evening, afternoon, morning, whatever time it is here with us as we go through some highlights from LCK Week 3 action. And if you're a fan of the Afreeca Freaks, it has been a wild ride so far in 2019 with some ridiculous rosters that they've been putting forward. Spirit going in, playing AP carry, awesome dude carry as Papa Smithy Coin, playing whatever he wants in the bottom lane. No aiming, they've been going 2 junglers. Well, it was more of the same in Week 3 as they matched up against Jin Air, and even though they've had these crazy picks, they're still sitting at 1-3, but there's nothing better to get back on track than to match up against Jin Air, who have looked terrible so far in 2019, but a little bit different, a tweak on this Afreeca roster this time, because Dread is in, Aiming is in, and Spirit is also in. This time he subs in game 1 at least for Jelly in that support role, and he says, I'm playing Jarvan. I'm gonna play Jarvan in the bottom lane with Aiming. He's back in the roster, and I'm not only gonna play Jarvan, I'm gonna roll him AP support in that bottom lane, because that's just that's exactly what you want to see. That's how you break solo queue going forward. But whew, you had a battle here around the dragon early on, and it's Afreeca who really start things up, and they're going to grab a kill first, and then the Jarvan gets the kill. He's going to start snowballing. You have Keen on the Akali, by the way, Ucal on the Lissandra, but the Jarvan snowballing, oh no. He completely, no vision. Afreeca, that's Jarvan and Dread getting completely obliterated, but he would have some redemption in this fight. This time, the EQ combo right into the ulti with the stopwatch keeps himself alive to set up Afreeca to clean up a couple of kills. Keen comes in, hops over the wall, but Afreeca's going to go a little bit too deep here, and I'm sorry, it wasn't Ucal on the Lissandra. It's Grace who comes in and grabs a kill, but Afreeca keeps going. Keen is going to grab another one here, and now the Akali is started to snowball. 2 dragons apiece here, and Afreeca again a little bit too deep. Keen is going under turret, but look at the J4, the EQ into flash combo by Spirit. I mean, Jarvan used to be a jungler, so I'm sure he's very comfortable on that champion. Not so sure about playing him AP, but Afreeca grabs the Baron here. Dread secures that with the smite, but the fight afterwards does not go their way. They just run it down into Jin Air. Jin Air grabs 2 kills, and that really puts a hamper on Afreeca's Baron power play, and then it was a lot of team fights in this game. We know the Jin Air special, they don't have Teddy anymore, but they still love to play for that late game, but oh no, aiming steals the Baron with the Ezreal ulti while he's also grabbing a blue buff, and then the inhibs are open in Jin Air's base. Super minions are just rolling in. They're gonna stop the back on Nova as well. Another kill for aiming, as well as the Baron buff, and you know what? Look at how many Elder Dragons we've got. That's 3 Elder Dragons in this game, 2 for Afreeca, 1 for Jin Air. The 3rd Elder buff with the Baron is finally enough for Afreeca to close out this game. You can make it to an hour long, but when you don't have Teddy, you don't have that late game insurance, but both these teams continue to defy the meta. We go into game 2. Dread gets the Kayn, and Spirit says, you know what? J4 worked last time. Let's run it back again. And he's got that early stopwatch yet again. This time he does go down, and the Kallisto's going to grab a kill, but there's a lot of people showing up here for Afreeca. They lose 1, but they end up just cleaning up. Keen TP's in on the Vladimir. That's 4 kills, count them 5, an ace at 11 minutes, 6-1 in kills, and then look out for Dread's Kayn. That's a pick we haven't seen very much. We actually seen it in the LPL a couple of times, not at all in the Western scene, but he cleans up this fight. That's a triple kill, 9-1 now. It was a 10,000 gold lead, insanely quick in this game. They grab a Baron as well, and I mean, this is just when you're ridiculously ahead, how quickly you clean up these team fights. 12K gold lead, 3 more kills for the Kayn. Dread finished this one 10-0-4 on him to clean that game up. And Afreeca, much cleaner in that second game. Jin Air, they put up a fight in the first game, but they got completely destroyed in that second one. 26 kills in 24 minutes for Jin Air. Not even close in that one. So Afreeca moved to 2-3, and who knows what roster they're going to put out in their next game. AP Jarvan support coming to a solo queue game near you. If you see that, you probably want to dodge and get out of queue immediately, but the flag has a nice AP ratio, and obviously you can debate some people pretty well when you EQ in with that Zhonya's and just trap them in Cataclysm. But 2 and 3 for Afreeca, and still a lot of question marks with that squad. And Jin Air, I'll tell you what, next time we do power rankings for week 3, we might be putting them in their own subcategory outside of that 10th place spot. They have about as good a chance of going 0-18 as Griffin does 18-0, and both have pretty darn good chances. Speaking about Griffin, they got a juicy matchup on Thursday going up against SK Telecom. It was supposed to be the battle of the undefeateds going forward, but obviously SKT already dropped a game to Sandbox, so maybe we'll be waiting for that Sandbox versus Griffin matchup for the undefeateds. But I mean, it's no secret how much Griffin has dominated so far this split. Just look at those absolutely disgusting numbers. Over 3,000 gold ahead at 15. They're getting first blood 75% of their games. That kill-death ratio is more than twice as high as the person in second. It's almost 3 times. I believe it's Sandbox, who's at 1.6-ish or so. So Griffin almost 3 times as many, 18 kills a game. They are completely destroying everyone that they match up against. This would be a statement win for this SKT lineup. I think the big question mark is going to be champion picks in that mid lane. The one loss that SKT had against Sandbox, everyone's talked about the drafting issues there, not banning Akali. Faker can only play Urgot and Galio apparently here in 2019. Are we going to see him play some of these more carry champions? Give him an Irelia, give him a Zoe. We need to see him. We've seen SKTs at their best when he's able to engage, so even throw Faker on that Lissandra. You remember he was fantastic on that in the Kespa Cup, so the Galio engages are when SKT's at their best, so throw him on a different champion. But Chovy has been playing at another level right now. We've talked about his 84 KDA, which is absolutely ridiculous. Obviously, KDA doesn't mean anything, but 4 out of the 5 members on Griffin have a double-digit KDA. Only Sword with a measly 7. So we'll see. Can SKT finally be the team to hand Griffin their first loss? We'll have all the highlights. Mark and I will both be here. We'll rip through those highlights on Thursday, but sure to be one of the best matchups of the young LCK season.